Welcome back, everyone, to the Fandalorian Club, our Star Wars review show, where we are covering everything Clone Wars this time around for our second season, our second go at it, and today we're going to be covering the second episode, a distant echo of the final season of the Clone Wars. But it is not just me, per usual, on this show. I am joined by Brian Avlicino and Jacob Bartley for this episode of the Fandalorian Club. We are here on a Friday evening, ready to talk some Clone Wars. How are you fellas doing?
Good.
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah?
Yes. I'm
right. Cool.
very excited to talk about this episode, and I'm very excited about the shirt you're wearing as well.
You just noticed it, huh?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it a little later on, but yeah.
I knew you got them today, but I hadn't seen them yet, and I'm very happy with what I'm seeing.
When you walked out, he goes, "You didn't notice it." I said,
Yeah. Well, all right. To be fair, you have a huge sweater on.
It's not huge.
Like, it's hard to see.
Well, they can't see it the way the cameras. You guys aren't. It's a little tease. Yeah, it's a little tease for something a little later on. But yeah, cool little shirt, and I have all of them to show you. So
nice.
I brought them all with me.
I'm excited.
So we're here to talk Clone Wars. The way it works, if you have not joined us before, we essentially just go all spoiler, all heavy into the episode. We talk about it at length. We kind of jump around a little bit to certain things that go on, maybe some more important things that happened in the episode. There's a lot to talk about with this episode. A really, really strong episode for its second episode of the season. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but better than the first one?
Unfairly, yes.
Yes.
Like, it's not fair.
Yes.
For the first episode, but the first episode was great.
Yes.
Especially having a week to think about it, it was great.
And there's a lot of connections in this episode, which I'm sure we'll get into. But let's just kick it off with initial thoughts, immediate reactions. Jacob, why don't you start us off, man?
I think you guys already know I absolutely love this episode. And look, I don't have to have Jedi in my stuff for me to enjoy it. I absolutely love The Mandalorian, and there's no Jedi. Obi-Wan did show up, and he's on the freaking thumbnail of the video, and he was barely in it, but that's okay. But overall, I loved it because it continued the storyline from the first episode naturally without shoving Anakin and Obi-Wan in our face. Like, it was natural that Anakin went on that mission. And there's so many little tiny things I want to talk about, but I just want to say my excitement level was already, maybe after last week was at a 9, it's at like a 15 now.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah, it's so a little background on these first 3 episodes. So these episodes were actually screened at Celebration last year.
Oh, really?
And that's because these are 3 of the unfinished 6 or 7 from the season years ago.
Really?
And so
they had the Bad Batch planned.
Yes, the Bad Batch episodes were planned, and they were actually they were in the beginning of stage of animation. You can find them online. They're very rough cut, where like the characters aren't walking, but they're
Netflix for a little bit, I think, weren't they?
Well, the final season was put on Netflix. Yeah,
no, I meant like the not made.
No, they were never. I don't think they were on there. Like the characters are like, instead of walking, they're just like gliding.
Yeah.
The animation isn't finished, but the episodes follow that storyline, but they're tweaked. And there's one major tweak in this episode, and I'll get to it later on after we get to our initial reactions. But yeah, it's you had mentioned that it's such a fluid transformation from the first to the second. Like it works so well the way they kind of just go into each other. I love the Bad Batch. Like everything about the Bad Batch is so good, and the best thing about it is they're highlighting them in the way that other clones aren't, as far as how they are able to use their abilities. They are so powerful and strong with like the weapons and the way they kind of use their tactical intelligence, and it's very cool to see, like when he says rock slide, he pushes the rocks down the hill. Like it's just different stuff from the normal clones, and it's just kind of like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it's obvious. Those characters right now are the best part of it so far. They're, I think, exceeding or at the very minimum meeting the expectations and excitement that people had for them. And each character is dope in their own way. They each like work perfectly together, and that's why I think it's working, why people are liking them so much.
Yeah, I like them even more after this episode. As you know, I wasn't over the moon last week, but I was still excited. Now, I think you guys felt last week like you loved the Bad Batch. I liked them last week. Now I love them because at first I wasn't sure. I thought they were a little over the top, but now it just feels natural, like that's who they are. And some of the things that they do, as far as action wise and their tactics are incredible.
Super
They operate like as powerful as like a 30-man clone army, just those 4 guys. And my favorite, is it Crosshair?
Crosshair, yeah.
Crosshair is my favorite when he's, oh my goodness, when he latches onto, I don't know I don't know what that creature's called, but the flying dragon beast or whatever.
I'll look it up. I can look it up.
When he latches onto that, I was like, no way, that is so cool. Because we've seen that before, right? I mean, The Mandalorian did something like that, but that was just so, I don't know how to explain it. It was so cinematic. And I love it in animation, but that just felt like a big, huge cinematic moment. Can you imagine that in live action like that? That was so.
Mandalorian.
But the way they were going through, like dodging the rocks and everything, and the spikes, and how he, instead of hitting one, he uses his feet and like runs off it. It was done so well action wise, and I mean, we're gonna talk about it. Anakin is just. It reminds me of how much I love Clone Wars. Anakin. From the TV show, he's so awesome, and you can see him struggling with the dark side, and especially with his personal feelings and all that. But everything tying in from him and Rex, him and Padme, him and Obi-Wan, best whole line of the whole entire show. Did you tell Padme I said hello?
Yeah. I hope you said hi for me or something like that.
Oh my goodness!
So let's get into that sequence a little bit. So it starts off the episode.
That was crazy.
The beginning of the episode is Anakin and Rex. Not the very beginning, but essentially the biggest sequence of the beginning.
Yes.
They're going off, and Anakin's like, we have something to do. And we're like, okay, what is this going on? And so Anakin walks into the barracks, and Rex is essentially guarding the door, and it's that moment from the trailer we've all been looking forward to about Anakin and Padme. We see hologram Padme, and this was the moment that switched from the previously animated episodes. So in the previously animated episodes, what was going to happen was they were walking to the ship, and there was a mural of Padme on the wall. And they're calling it. You guys got to look it up because it's actually, they call it "Sexy Padme." Like she looks like she's almost like a hooker in a way. She's sitting down. She has a gun in her hand. Like she looks like super. And Anakin's like, that's got to be taken down. And he like walks away. And so they switched it up this time around with an actual hologram of her, so we get to see her. Very interesting. Obviously, Rex knows about them, which is a huge revelation. Obi-Wan kind of hints like he's kind of figuring out a little bit with the sequence as well. Stupid. Exactly. And then their conversation obviously, ties back into everything with Revenge of the Sith and kind of how that happens. But a very cool sequence, and kind of shocking how it all went down too, and a little bit how it kind of connects to everything.
Yeah, I mean, I almost completely forgot everything that was said between Anakin and Padme just because of what Obi-Wan saying that caught me off guard and made me laugh. So I was just like, oh, Obi-Wan's not stupid. He knows everything. He knows what's going on. He always knows.
Yeah, the conversation between Anakin and Padme was great because the whole thing was Rex is set on finding Echo, and he will not let it go. And everyone's concerned he's getting his personal feelings involved. And what does Anakin always do?
Yep.
He gets his personal feelings involved. So I love how Padme's calling him out, like, well, where do you think he learned that from? And like you said, I don't think we knew that Rex knew about them.
No, we didn't.
And even though I do think there were hints in the movies in the old Clone Wars that Obi-Wan knew, I think this kind of shows us like maybe he knew more than we thought he did.
This is the biggest solidification of it all.
He never had 100% confirmation, but he was always suspicious. And like you said, he's not stupid. Yeah. And that means if Obi-Wan knew as much as he thought he did, he just was kind of letting it go on. Because what is he supposed to do? Yeah. And he had romantic relationships as well. Even though it wasn't with somebody they're working so closely with.
Yep.
He broke that Jedi rule, I guess, as well. So
exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to the episode. They get to the planet, and the planet's name is, oh God, what's its name? I have it right here.
Crate. I'm just kidding.
It's not Crate. Skako Minor. Skako Minor is what it's called. And cool little tease here. Skako Minor was actually mentioned in Revenge of the Sith. And so there's a little connection there as far as these events that are going on. And so let's get into the timeline a little bit before we get to some of the moments, because we don't exactly know, before this episode, we didn't exactly know when all this was taking place. But this episode essentially confirmed everything going forward. This is about 5 to 6 months before Revenge of the Sith, because Anakin mentions the Siege of the Outer Rims, I believe it's what it's called, and that line was mentioned in Revenge of the Sith when Anakin and Padme first met. When she says, "I'm pregnant," he mentions the Siege of the Outer Rims. And so this stuff that's going on in this season right now is right before he gets called off to Palpatine being kidnapped by Grievous in Revenge of the Sith. And so it's all connected. And so and then later on we know that it's all going to kind of overlap. And so this is all the stuff that's happening in the Republic right now, right before Revenge of the Sith happens. So this is where he's at before he gets called off. Him and Obi-Wan get called off to go rescue the Chancellor. So thoughts?
I couldn't get over the alien species, like the way they talk.
Oh, I love the way they talk.
It was literally, I almost want to say it was just someone like reversing what someone was saying. It literally sounded like it was like just like the way we're talking.
I know what you mean, because it kind of
was
sounded like real words, but not right, you know?
I really was like sitting there like, are they just hitting rewind on what they're saying going forward and using that as the speak? And I love that Tech isn't just like the nerdy like tech guy that they use to do stuff. He's like a big deal. Like without him, they would be like,
they wouldn't have been able to get into that room at the end. They wouldn't have been able to get Echo off there safely. So bunch of stuff,
because that was the thing I was worried about right off the bat. I was like, all right, they got the muscle guy, they got the like smooth
sharpshooter
leader,
the smooth leader, and
then like the sharpshooter, and then they got the nerdy tech guy, and I'm like, and I immediately got drawn to the nerdy tech guy, and I was like, all right, they're not gonna use him probably that much, but no, if anything, he was probably used almost the most in this episode.
I almost put him as the thumbnail, because there's a picture of him when he's doing the word stuff on his glasses. There's a still of him with the two other Bad Batch characters behind him that looks really good as a thumbnail.
Who is on the thumbnail?
Anakin and Rex and Hunter.
We gotta put Anakin on there, obviously.
So I had to,
yeah.
It makes sense. It's the first time we really see him in like a full-on episode.
Yeah.
So
and I can't get over the weird droids. Those were some weird looking droids.
I actually like those droids because it was something different. Have we ever seen those before?
We have not, but it makes sense.
That's why I liked it, because it was something new.
Well, I think it is also because it was.
That's not the droid army. It's a different army. It's the Techno Union Army, which is led by Wat Tambor. He's a very popular character. He actually showed up in Attack of the Clones live action, and that's where they got him.
Revenge of the Sith too.
Maybe it was Revenge of the Sith then. It might have been Revenge of the Sith when I said it.
And so are they separatists though? That droid army and that guy who was...
He pledged himself and his army to Dooku. So yes.
So technically,
so they're being used.
But those aliens aren't part of the separatists.
No, they're part of what's called the Techno Union Army.
Oh, they are. The aliens.
Those are the homeworld people.
Yeah.
Those are the homeworld
people.
They're
just the natives. They're not involved.
In Revenge of the Sith, it's also mentioned that planet eventually does get taken over.
Oh, okay.
And so it's a callback to kind of like the beginnings of it all happening. But Wat Tambor is the bad guy. He's the like super robotic sci-fi guy from like the 50s. Exactly.
He was one of my favorite.
He's such a cool villain.
Like just because he looked like he was made to be a villain. Just the way how he talks and like how it did all that. Like
And then he's working for Admiral Trench too, because Trench is like a very popular bad guy from the Clone Wars. Kind of pulling all the strings behind it all,
When I think of Clone Wars, I almost think of him as
the main bad guy. He's in a lot of episodes. He's in a lot of episodes. Yeah, he definitely is.
So,
well, I mean, let's get to the end here with Echo. We finally see Echo here, and he is in fact essentially being there as a supercomputer in a way. He's being plugged into the machine. Yeah. He has the Maul effects with the robotic legs.
He had one normal arm.
Yes, one. Yes, you are correct. But it almost seemed like after being pulled out that he kind of got his memory back because he noticed Rex a little bit, which is to me is a little odd because it happened so quickly. But I guess
I felt like he was like he didn't remember anything since the time where the
Well,
Citadel
he said the
blew
Citadel.
up.
He said the Citadel.
So
he
thought he was still in the Citadel,
Yes.
and Rex came in and got him. So he's been unconscious
And
since then.
it's been at least
Yeah.
like 5 years. It's been
Yeah.
at least somewhere around like 5 years.
Can I say, the animation is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because when they pulled him, his eyes, if you look closely, were going like this.
Yeah,
like,
it's
like literally just like shaking, like if it would, like someone was like being brainwashed.
Yeah.
And just even the littlest thing like that, like you notice and you're like, whoa, like it's incredible from where they started to where it is now.
yeah. So what do we think that might happen going forward with now that Echo is found as far as the storyline? Do we think anything that's gonna happen in the next episode?
So supposedly it's supposed to be a 3-episode arc, right?
So it's I was mistaken. It's 4. It's three 4-episode arcs.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure because it seemed like it was kind of all about this.
Mm-hmm.
But what was the overall mission? Oh, it was to find out how they were figuring out their
Yes.
tactics and everything. Okay.
Well, they still
So
have
they
to get
figured
out.
it out.
They do
So
still have to get out.
That's true. But they could totally start the episode where they're back at the
Yeah,
base again.
That's true.
I'm not sure where it goes specifically from here. Maybe they focus more on the, Anakin, Padme,
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan stuff. That's possible, but maybe they go after that guy who was keeping Echo,
Trench, Admiral Trench,
who was keeping Echo
which would make
locked up
sense.
there. I think if they're continuing this storyline, that's probably where they go.
Trench probably had.
Yeah.
I mean,
Was he in that room or was he just?
no, he was on video comms. He was somewhere
Okay,
else.
so I wouldn't. They're probably gonna go find him.
And I would think that he's probably going to have to die because then where was he?
Yeah.
It's that whole situation with Star Wars where were they? And so more than likely, and like you had said, he's kind of been like almost like a main villain throughout the entire series. For me, it raises the question of does this lead to, because we know in Rebels when Rex finally came up, he said that he and the 2 other clones he was with, they went on the run, they took their chips out.
Yeah.
Is this kind of leading to maybe Echo being like the key to
Do we
Rex
know
finding? So
who-
Fives is the only one that found the chip,
Okay.
and he was killed for it. Right? He was kept quiet. Rex at this point does not know.
Yeah.
But we know in Rebels that he does know about it. Is Echo the key piece here to kind of figuring that out?
Do we know who the other clone troopers were with
their
Rex?
their names escape me at the moment, but I can definitely look them
Are
up.
they in Rebels or is it just Rex?
Which ones?
The clones that he found out had the chip in their head with him.
So the 2 that were in Rebels, I believe they showed up in Clone Wars, but they weren't like main clones.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna look them up right now.
And one of them wasn't. They weren't Echo, right?
No. No,
Obviously, because we didn't know Echo was alive. So my question is, I was thinking about that. Did this whole brain thing? Did they remove the chip in order to do that? Maybe that's where they found, like you said,
Very possible.
where they found it, or maybe
Very
they realized
possible.
somehow when they take those things off his head, they're like, "Wait, what is this?" I wouldn't be surprised if that's
Yeah, because we know that Rex gets his taken out.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that Filoni's going to tell that story in these episodes. Is
Hey,
this the kind of beginning
Tech
of
probably helps them get him out.
That's
I
even
wouldn't
a
be
big, like,
surprised.
what if they have it as well?
I'm curious about that.
Maybe
Did they
what-
put them
what if
in
they have it?
the deformed clones?
That's interesting, right? Those are questions
Yeah.
that kind of need to be answered.
That's funny because I took this as I went a whole different way with this because I was thinking because they made multiple points to say it throughout the episode was that like how the clones they wouldn't dare step foot on like what at this point seemed as neutral territory and they multiple times said like this is a stealth mission, we're not supposed to be here, like all this. So I was thinking maybe some type of repercussion is going to come out after this, and that was where it would go. But the chip thing is actually probably
Because
it would make the most sense.
And it hasn't been confirmed, but it's heavily thought that it's going to show Order 66 in some kind.
When I saw his head all hooked up, it was the first thing I thought of was the chip.
And I'm beginning to think that although I want to see it from someone like an Obi-Wan's perspective or another Jedi or something, I'm beginning to think that we're going to see it from either Ahsoka's or Rex's perspective, because Rex is the one that gets away. He gets away.
Yeah.
And so it would make sense to show it from his perspective, like his fellow brothers kind of going haywire and killing people around him. And he's like, what is going on, or maybe he has a chip out or whatever, or something
They
like
must
that.
have it out by then.
Yeah,
but
it's
why
gotta
wouldn't
be.
they tell anyone else though? That's the question.
Well, they saw what happened to Fives. Maybe they remember what happened to Fives.
That's true.
And he got killed for it because he went crazy, and then they're like, "Oh my god, he was telling the truth."
Either way, seeing it from one of those characters,
That's what I'm saying.
It's gonna gut wrench.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we're not going to see it from Anakin's because we saw it in Revenge of the Sith. We're not going to see it from Obi-Wan's. You know, all the other Jedi really
Obi-Wan's
died.
best commander, your favorite guy.
And so it would make sense to tell it from, and I don't think we'll see it from Ahsoka because she's at that point. I would think that she's long gone.
Well, that or she has to kill her own squad, which is the ones that have.
I don't think any of the Jedi are going to find out, including Ahsoka in there, because they would have done something about it.
And so what I believe the first 4 episodes are called the Bad Batch. The last 4 are called the Siege of Mandalore. So we're seeing the Siege of Mandalore happen. I believe that maybe Ahsoka hears it on Mandalore, like something happened, and Rex is with her, because we know that Rex and Ahsoka are tight.
Yeah.
Right? And Anakin's off doing the Revenge of the Sith stuff. And so the Siege of Mandalore is happening during the events of Revenge of the Sith. That's why they're not together. And more than likely, they're going to hear it from across the galaxy, is what I'm thinking.
Imagine that would be insane if she's hearing this all.
That's what I'm thinking.
Like in just.
And she has those troops of Ahsoka clones. What if those clones turn on them against the Mandalorians because they're fighting with the Mandalorians? They're fighting with the Mandalorians in the episodes. Crazy.
Damn.
So something to think about.
So the siege isn't the purge. That's a different thing, right?
We don't know.
Okay.
Because very I assumed could be the same thing.
That happened a lot later on. Well, no, it had to have because we see them in Rebels, right? Or
what? Mandalorian?
Yeah.
I've never watched
from what I understand, you're talking about stuff
because Mandalore is still right? like thriving and well in Rebels, right?
Well, they're all split. It's all split. Okay. It's everywhere. But the Mandalorian, the TV show, and the Mandalorian, the purge they're talking about happened with the Empire.
Yeah.
During the original trilogy, or possibly right before.
Well, yeah, it has to happen later because he gets the dark saber, and the last time we see it.
So these are two different things. Yeah. So the Siege of Mandalore is definitely different than the Purge.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Not the Jedi Purge, but the Purge of Mandalore.
We still have to see Ahsoka go like underground and all that.
So that happens. That's the second arc. Yeah. That's the second 4-parter, and it's called Ahsoka. God, I forget the name of it, but there's a name for each part.
So for each 4 episode arc,
each 4-part,
but they each have their own individual episode names.
The second
right?
one's called like Ahsoka, not Ahsoka on the Run, but like Ahsoka something, and then the third part is called the Siege of Mandalore.
Okay.
These are okay. The one thing I am loving that Disney Plus and these shows are doing is we are not getting any fluff episodes. They are literally, you are doing an episode, telling this story, and that's it.
Well, there's no time for it.
That's fine.
Either. It's perfect. Which is good.
I mean, there are a lot of episodes that kind of seem a little fluff with Clone Wars.
And Rebels.
Yeah. That has not happened with Mandalorian. That is not happening with this. They are telling the story and they are doing it. And I have not come across a single Star Wars episode on either show that I've been like, okay. That was just like to pass the time.
Maybe there was one in The Mandalorian. Maybe. But we're 2 episodes in and both are solid and relevant and full. There's not one moment in either episode I would take out. They're done very well.
It's been so good.
Yeah.
It's been so good.
Sucks to know that this is
the last time we're going to see this.
It's just like it's getting you such like right back into it, but it's only just.
Is it 12 weeks straight?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
And it ends on May 8th, so it's the week after May the 4th with you. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if I counted it correctly. Maybe they do like an hour finale or something, but that's kind of how it
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 45 minutes.
Well, we saw that with Rebels. Rebels did that with those the premiere episodes and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be very exciting. It's going to be very any final thoughts on this episode, future stuff that we're going to see, characters, moments, maybe your favorite moment?
I'm curious. It's funny because every single time I'm like, all right, I kind of don't really know what I'm gonna get next. Like, okay, maybe the Echo thing, maybe it's gonna be Echo, maybe not. And then now it's like, I have no idea where it's going after this now. Are they going to get out? Is the whole episode going to be about the chips? Is it going to be like, you don't
It's
know?
2 more episodes of the Bad Batch stuff.
Yeah.
So
and it sucks. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm loving the Bad Batch right now. I'm like, I don't want them to go away.
doesn't mean they can't be included though.
Oh, no. But
That's
I'm saying,
true,
like,
yeah.
after this 12, you're not getting...
It's going to
Bad
be
Batch
cool
in.
though, because what I'm thinking is that after the first 4, after the Bad Batch arc, I'm thinking that's when Revenge of the Sith starts.
Probably makes sense, yeah.
That's what I'm kind of starting to believe, is that right on episode, they make it episode 5, that's the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, when they have that awesome intro with everything with Palpatine and stuff like that. Because Revenge of the Sith doesn't happen over 2 days. It happens over like weeks. Like it's an extended period of time. So it could easily be a big chunk.
We're probably going to see what Ahsoka was doing
exactly
during at least the beginning
Ahsoka and Maul
of Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, because canon-wise, the last time we saw Maul, I believe, is when him and his brother fought Palpatine.
In Clone Wars?
And
yes.
And Palpatine defeats him and he says, I have bigger plans for you.
Yes.
Oh, we do find out he escapes, though.
Yeah.
Wait, the
after
comic.
Rebels. The Son of Dathomir
or does he say it in the
I think he
Rebels?
says it in Rebels, but it's from the Son of Dathomir comic,
Okay.
which you said does connect.
I got lost. I started to drift off. I was thinking... Sorry. I honestly did not hear a thing you just said because I was thinking to myself, I was going, what if Darth Maul and Ahsoka... Order 66 is going on and they like start like have to
mowing down clones. Probably.
clones
That's
together.
possible.
Sorry,
They're fighting each other and then that
literally
happens.
Well,
started
to me,
playing it and
I don't
Because
get me
would they
wrong,
try to kill Darth Maul too?
Don't
I
get
mean,
me-
probably.
Yeah, probably. Don't get me wrong. Like that'd be amazing. But I'm thinking that it's going to be Ahsoka, Bo-Katan, and Rex mowing down people.
probably
Because I think Bo-Katan's going to show up in Mandalorian season 2, which
If
means
we
she's
see
going to be alive.
Rex having to fight
his
other
brothers.
clones, that's
the-
going to be tough.
It's the whole
Ooh.
point, right?
Yeah.
It's so emotional between him and these, and he keeps talking about he's losing his brothers. He's losing his brothers.
And the thing is-
he's going to have to shoot his brothers down.
The thing is, they're not necessarily going to be going after him.
Can we please see a Rex Cody showdown?
oh my
I want to see a
God.
Rex Cody showdown. Cody's got to die.
Yes.
He's got to die.
We don't
Right?
we don't
He's
ever
gotta
see
die.
what happens to him,
He's gotta
right?
die.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
He's got to unless he became like an elite stormtrooper, but that guy has got to die.
How happy would
definitely.
you be if Obi-Wan was the one that killed him too? I
I
don't
don't-
think he can because
I'd rather Rex do it. That would be
Rex killing
that'd be
him.
kind of poetic.
Because he's
to
part
be
of
honest,
the Brotherhood with him. He keeps mentioning him and Cody, and so. But I definitely think that it's going to come down to Rex mowing him down.
What was the Dathomir thing that you were saying?
We were talking about.
Well,
'cause I
basically,
just
Darth
said it.
Maul escaped. Palpatine
Yes.
captures him after he defeats him, and Darth Maul escapes.
and he
So,
mentions it in Son of Dathomir the comic.
yes,
Oh,
And so
That's
we're
true.
saying because the last time we saw him was with Savage and him
'cause-
fighting Palpatine,
yeah,
but then he said, "I had bigger plans for you," and then we found out that he did escape Palpatine. So do we find that out, or does he just mention it into a sentence, or like, that's kind of what we were talking about.
gotcha.
You totally spaced, didn't you?
Right now or before?
Before.
Absolutely. I was literally imagining Darth Maul and Ahsoka back
I wish
to
we could
back,
have seen
like,
what Brian was
you
imagining.
could probably
Just
see
like,
me just like drool.
Cut
just
to a
like
vision.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so much more excited going forward after this episode, and it's because of Anakin. I can't lie, it's because of Anakin, and just I said it earlier, but my favorite moment is definitely when Obi-Wan says,
Yeah.
"I hope you said hi to Padme for me," and then Anakin just turns
Just looks
around
at him.
He's
and
just
then
like-
keeps
He just
walking.
looks at him. Yeah.
It's like it's very mature. It's not. Anakin doesn't come back with a quirky remark. He just like gives him a look and just keeps walking. So
Totally.
I loved that moment. Yeah.
I'm so excited. This has been so good, and it's like it just makes you appreciate how good Clone Wars was, and that like Filoni is getting to finish his story, like, and finish it at this level. Like, it probably would have been great if they would have just given him the final season at the time that it was going on. This is probably 10
This is way
times
better.
scale.
This is way better.
This the scale that they're doing with this animation, the storytelling, everything is just like, it makes it so worth the wait. That, I mean, you guys watched it when it came out, but I'm like saying it for a year ago. But for the scale of people that have watched it was like, what, 9 years, something?
It started in 2008, so it's
Yeah.
been 12 years.
So I mean, like, God, I can only imagine how like awesome like a payoff.
and it's gonna
is.
be going through a movie, which is the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
so-
Resistance did it to an extent, kind of, sort of. their break kind of went with the movies as well. But this is like legitimately going while this story is going on, which is
and involving
awesome.
the main characters is the
Yes.
thing. Resistance doesn't do that. Maybe
Exactly.
maybe Poe a little bit, but
One thing
Not
that I
really.
did think of when they were doing this episode was when he who was it? I think it was Rex asked them, how many missions have you guys been on to the Bad
Oh,
Batch?
Anakin
They don't
asked
know.
him.
And they don't
Mhm.
know.
They don't know.
yeah.
I was thinking to myself, like, I would love to.
That's what I said last week. I want to see all those
Oh,
missions.
yeah.
Well, no,
you-
I wasn't gonna say. I mean, like, they're obviously not gonna do a spin-off of that. I would love to see that in a book.
I wouldn't be surprised.
A book
wouldn't be
would
surprised.
awesome. Like, I would
Yeah.
love to hear an audio.
I
book
do.
of that.
I do think that the Bad Batch isn't just a one-off for the Clone Wars.
I think the,
No, because people
they're-
are gonna love
They're
them.
so popular.
I think honestly,
Oh.
I would not be surprised if they put him in a comic.
I want a sideshow of Hunter.
That would be cool.
I would not be surprised if we see him in a comic.
I'd rather see a book series.
Yeah, but
I'd
can
rather
you
see a
not
book
see them
series.
put it in a comic?
Well, because they're animation. You can draw them very
And
cool.
you could do
and-
short. It's shorter, so but yeah,
I want to see more animation. How about that?
yeah.
seriously.
One more thing I loved was that the Bad Batch, right? Other than the leader, maybe they're always starting stuff. They're always attacking the other clones, trying to
Regs.
fight the other clones. They do not mess with Anakin.
Regs.
They don't mess with
Oh,
Anakin
God, no,
at
yeah.
all. Even the big guy, he knows he does not give Anakin 1 second of
Nor
anything.
should you.
Yeah.
Nor should you.
Well, part of it is he's a Jedi because maybe they don't want to disrespect
General.
the
Well,
Jedi.
I think they know the general thing where clones follow the generals and stuff like that.
But at this point, Anakin has a reputation as well. He has to, and he's considered the best Jedi in the galaxy
yes.
at this point. Well, young Jedi, I guess you
He's
could
not
say.
a master yet, but yes.
Yeah, but but a lot of people say his reputation was he's like the greatest Jedi of the
Well,
Clone
he's
Wars.
known as
yeah.
the chosen one.
Yeah, exactly.
He's known as the one.
and everyone knows that,
Yes.
so they're not messing with Anakin.
He's so bad.
I love that.
That's the man. I wanted to see more Jedi Anakin. I
Well,
know it's
that's-
such a bum. I know that we get Vader and everything, but it's like I just want to see more Jedi Anakin. That's all I want, man.
That's what I'm saying while I'm watching this. It's like every episode that he's in is precious because we don't get to see. This might be the last time we see this on screen. I hope not, but it might be
Probably is.
Yeah.
Probably is.
until they do a live action movie set in the Clone Wars 15 years from now.
With
I don't
Ahsoka,
know.
right?
Yes.
All right. Well, there it is, guys. Our Fandalorian Club for this week, covering episode 2 of the Clone Wars, titled "A Distant Echo." A great episode all around. Really love the episode. Good continuation from number 1. Looking forward to seeing where they go with 3. Because we literally have no idea at this point. It's literally it's a cliffhanger.
I love that they don't show previews either.
like a preview for the
after
next
the
episode.
episode.
Yeah, definitely. I think they actually released that later on. They released like stuff online on like Twitter and stuff like that, but that's neither here nor there. So, but yeah, that is Jacob, that is Brian, I am Jake. This is the Fandalorian Club. You guys can find us on Twitter. You guys can find us on Instagram, YouTube, of course, audio podcast platforms. This show is up on audio as well. Apple, Anchor, Spotify, all that good stuff. Make sure you guys let us know what you think of the episode down below in the comments. Is it your favorite episode? Do you like the first one more? What do you want to see us talk about on the show? Did we miss anything? We love to hear from you guys, obviously, as always. And we are on Friday nights, sometimes maybe Saturday mornings, depending on schedules. But that is when you can find the Fandalorian Club. So again, thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you guys next time.